It all started one rainy afternoon in this little suburb outside Austin, Texas place called Willow Creek, where everyone knows everyone's business, and if they don't, they'll make it up. I remember pulling into my driveway after a long day at the hardware store, feeling that familiar knot in my gut because there was Mark, my neighbor 2 doors down, standing on his porch with that smug look, yelling something about my fence being an inch over the property line like that was the real crime of the century. Before I could even shut off the engine, he marched over, face red as a tomato, and barked, "Jack, you think you can just encroach on my land like some kind of thief? I've got the HOA on speed dial, and they're gonna slap you with fines that'll make your head spin." His voice dripping with that old grudge from when I outbid him on this house years ago, back when he thought it was his by right cause his family had roots in the town longer than mine. Deep down, I knew it wasn't just about the fancy, it was about control, about him feeling like the king of the block ever since he got elected HOA president, manipulating rules to settle scores, like how he'd nitpick my yard while ignoring his buddies' junk piles. I'd moved here after losing my wife to cancer, looking for a fresh start with my daughter Emily. But Mark saw me as an outsider, some guy from the city who didn't belong, and he'd been stirring up the neighbors with whispers about how I was ruining the neighborhood vibe. That day, as rain pelted the windshield, I felt utterly alone, questioning if I'd ever find peace, like the world was stacked against me, shadows closing in. But little did I know, something or someone was watching over me, turning what felt like abandonment into quiet protection, like an unseen hand steering me through the storm. As the weeks dragged on, the conflict ramped up. Mark rallied a few allies, like old Mrs. Hargrove next door, who'd always been jealous of my garden blooming better than hers, and they started showing up at HOA meetings, pointing fingers, demanding surveys, and threatening liens. I'd sit there in those stuffy community center rooms, heart pounding, trying to defend myself with, "Look, folks, it's just a fence. I built it to keep Emily's dog in, not to steal anyone's dirt." But Mark would cut in with a sneer. "Oh, please, Jack, we all know you're trying to expand your lot on the cheap typical city slicker move." And the room would murmur, eyes narrowing, making me feel like a criminal in my own home. Inside, I was crumbling, doubting if I had the fight in me, especially with Emily asking why the neighbors hated us, her little voice breaking my heart. Nights I'd lie awake, praying for some sign that I wasn't walking this path solo, that maybe heaven hadn't forgotten us after all the loss we'd endured. But then, things started shifting in ways I couldn't explain at first, like coincidences that felt too perfect to be random. One evening, I was out measuring that damn fence myself, frustration boiling over, when a storm hit out of nowhere, lightning cracking so close it shook the ground, and I swear, something nudged me to step back just as a branch from Mark's overgrown tree came crashing down right where I'd been standing. Missed me by inches, but it tore up his precious flower bed instead. I stood there, soaked and stunned, whispering to myself, "What the hell was that?" As if some guardian had whispered, "Not today, Jack." And it didn't stop there. Emily came home from school with a new friend, little Sarah from down the street, whose dad turned out to be a surveyor, nice guy named Tom, who'd moved in quietly and heard the rumors but didn't buy into them. Tom pulled me aside one day, chuckling softly. "Heard about your fence fiasco. Mark's been pulling this crap for years, ever since he lost that promotion at work and took it out on the neighborhood. Let me take a look, no charge." That conversation lit a spark. I started digging deeper, talking to other neighbors who'd been burned by Mark's power trips, like how he'd fined the Ramirez family for their kid's lemonade stand cause it blocked the sidewalk, all while his own garage sale sprawled everywhere. The inner turmoil hit hard. Part of me wanted to lash out, scream at Mark, "You think you're God around here? Well, you're just a bully hiding behind bylaws." But instead, I felt this calm settle in, like an invisible ally urging patience. And sure enough, at the next HOA meeting, things escalated dramatically. Mark stormed in, slamming papers down, yelling, "We've got proof. Jack's fence is illegal, and I'm calling for a vote to tear it down." His eyes locked on mine, full of that bitter triumph. But then Tom stood up, mild-mannered as ever, and said, "Hold on. Folks, I ran the numbers myself, and Jack's right. The line's been wrong on the old maps. Mark's the one encroaching, by about a foot." The room went dead silent, Mark's face twisting in rage as he sputtered, "That's a Leo in on it with him." But the evidence was there, black and white. And suddenly the tide turned, neighbors murmuring against him now, realizing his manipulations had gone too far. It was like a movie scene, the underdog flipping the script me, just a regular guy trying to rebuild his life, watching Mark deflate as the board voted to review all his past decisions, his reign crumbling under the weight of his own pettiness. I remember walking out that night, rain cleared to stars, feeling this profound lift, like chains I'd carried for months were snapping one by one. And in quiet moments after, I'd reflect on those near misses, the timely helps, wondering if it was more than luck, if maybe, just maybe, an angel had been at my side all along, intercepting the blows, turning losses into shields. Emily even said one night, hugging me tight, "Dad, it's like someone's watching over us, right?" And I'd nod, tears stinging, knowing deep down that heaven's plan hadn't failed us, that through the fire of that neighborhood war, I'd been refined, stronger, ready for whatever came next. But here's where it gets tricky, and I still wrestle with it after the dust settled. Mark lost his HOA spot, moved away quietly, but not before a tense porch confrontation where he muttered, "You think you won? This town's full of people like me," his voice laced with defeat but a hint of warning, leaving me wondering if justice was truly served or if I'd just traded one bully for the potential of more. 'Cause communities like Willow Creek breed these grudges from old wounds, misunderstandings that fester into power plays. Did I handle it right, staying calm instead of fighting fire with fire? Or should I have called him out sooner, risked more to expose the rot? It's that gray area that keeps me up sometimes, realizing life's battles aren't always clean-cut victories. Hey, if this story hits home for you, maybe you've dealt with a neighborhood tyrant or felt that unseen protection in your own mesh, drop a comment below. Was I too passive, or is patience the real power? Share your take on justice in tight-knit communities, like M or hate M. Hit that like button if it resonated. Subscribe for more real talk tales, and let's keep the conversation going. What's your story?